I'd like to call to order the June 9th, 2020 Recreation Committee meeting. All commissioners are present, no one's absent. With that, we'll go to the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Ask Coach Thomas to go ahead and lead us in both.
Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, as we come at this hour in the evening once again, we come with praise, honor, glory, and Lord, to say thank you for the many blessings that you bestowed upon each of us. Father, as we go forward here in the recreation business, we ask that you give us guidance and direction that we need to go in. I ask, Lord, that you allow us to do your will. Father, we just pray, Lord, that you would bless our children and continue to bless our homes and enable us to do your will once again. Lord God, we thank you for the many blessings. We ask that you bless this parish of Ascension. I ask, Lord, that you bless this America. We thank you for the many blessings. In your name we pray. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. We all said amen.
Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to remind the public, if anybody wants to make a comment, they have public comment cards at the podium, and go ahead and fill it out, and we will recognize you on your agenda item you would like to speak on. We have one housekeeping matter. Councilman Lawler.
Yeah, I'd like to add an item to the agenda, which would be a resolution to reimburse baseball $2,730, softball $2,225, and soccer $6,750, which is equal to the $5 fee that we accept from each of them for this past season.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lawler, second by Councilman Cagan-Lally. To add it to the agenda, we need a unanimous, I think we need a roll call to add it to the agenda.
Yes.
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 With that as added to, we're added to agenda item, we'd put it number 4A under the director's report. Motion passes.
Thank you.
With that, we'll go to item number 4, the director's report.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see everyone again. The Recreation Department would like to first give our appreciation to our parish president, our administration, and all of our councils and committees for leading us through these unheard of times. In a time where government and businesses are being crippled, together Ascension Parish has been able to keep moving forward thanks to decisions made by all. Recreation Department, I would like to personally thank my recreation people who have helped maintain the basic needs of our parks even during our shutdown. With the COVID shutdown, we had to suspend our rentals, including ballpark field rentals. We would just like to inform all that we are working on a plan to calculate refunds and credits, and we hope to have all refunds and credits ready by late August. The rentals were paid in full in advance and span months, so it makes it difficult to determine refund or credit amounts as they will vary by previous usage as well as restart or extended time. I'd like to touch on an item we brought this item before the committee multiple times, but I want to rehash this topic with you again tonight. Our ballpark lighting issues. Our issues expand beyond electric bills and outdated lighting. Safety of our participants and citizens is our main priority. In the last 2 years, we have had a pole that was recently inspected come crashing down, crushing a section of bleachers. This occurred during a slightly windy day. Thank goodness for us, it was during the off-season. To cut to the chase, at our populated baseball softball fields, the majority of our lighting items are outdated. We have rusted out panels, lights that constantly blow out, and poles who are nearing the end of their lifespan. As we all know, recreation is limited on funding. Therefore, we explored every avenue of funding for this much-needed project. At the end of it all, we decided our best plan was to do the lighting in phases. Prioritize our projects. Phase 1 encompassed our 3 most populated parks and the 3 that give us the most issues. We had many discussions with administration, finance, and other recreational outlets to devise the best strategy to accomplish our needs. With our gym expansion and splash pad engineering projects already approved with recreation borrowing the funding, we felt we could not handle 2 10-year loans running consecutively. Therefore, we set into work the phase plans to try to offset the loans, 10-year stranglehold. Finance advised us that we had enough funds in our own general fund to pay for phase one. This would allow us to tackle immediate needs and delay the burden of two loans temporarily. We've had two projects completed through the same engineering firm. Both were huge successes in completion of the project, cost of the project, and timeframe of the project. I put in front of you photos of both projects. The pole repair at Sandoval Park and the completed full LED and pole replacement project at Jackie Robinson Park for your viewing. We will have a ballpark lighting discussion later tonight. And just want you to know that we are being creative and exploring every avenue of funding and cost-saving measures, from grants to reusing some of our newer equipment when possible. If you want to take a look at the photos that I put in there, just to give you a little deal here. The first one was Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson, we went out there and we noticed that we were having some pole issues. And then we had them inspected and found out that there were multiple poles that were pretty much at the end of its lifespan and a hazard, at the park. So, we teamed up with the lighting district and us, and actually went out there and we did a full restoration, got all new metal poles and everything. Just kind of want to show you pictures like this is like top notch. Like this wasn't generic around the corner. We've got a surge protecting system. We got new panel, one button on and off switches, and we went and took light readings and everything out there. And this is for a full size park, and it just absolutely came out perfect. Also, last year when we had our the emergency at Sandoval Park, if you see the top picture, that pole crashed through the deals. And this pole was recently inspected, so it's not, it wasn't really a blame or fault anywhere. It was inspected recently, and once they start nearing the end of their lifespan, we really don't know. It could last 5 more years. It could go next month. We're not sure. But, same thing, the company came out, engineering took care of everything. We went ahead and replaced that same pole with a metal pole and with LED lighting. So when we are able to move into our phase to take care of that park and upgrade it to LED, we didn't waste any money by putting something up that was going to be temporary. And again, it came out perfectly as well. I want to move on to some grant information. The Recreation Department is continuing to pursue any and all grants we are deemed eligible for. We do have to regret to inform you that we were turned down for the Play and Youth Sports grant we recently applied for. A copy of the rejection letter is in your packet. We will continue to actively pursue any and all grants for all aspects of recreation. If you look in the back, I just sent the email over, from the deal. It was a 2-part deal. They had a first phase we had to get through, and we didn't make it through there. So, lastly, Recreation would like to announce that our splash pads at Oak Grove Park in Prairieville and Fairgrounds Park in Donaldsonville are both open for your enjoyment Tuesday through Sunday, 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. They are closed on Mondays for general maintenance, and those both actually opened up today for the public's enjoyment. With that concludes the director's report.
Anybody have any questions?
Question.
Councilman Thomas?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that the director for West Ascension come and give a on report so that we'll know exactly what's going on the West Bank. Thought to put her on the agenda for director's report, West Ascension.
You have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Thomas, second by Councilman Lawler. Are there any objections? No objection, the motion passes. With that, we'll go to agenda item 4A. Councilman Lawler?
Yes, basically, it's a resolution. The reason for this is, I know from speaking with baseball, softball, and soccer representatives, they have suffered some loss as a result of COVID-19. Not being able to play, they've been unable to run concessions, they've incurred losses because of that. They've also been unable to hold tournaments, suffered losses because of that. The parish, right now, we collect $5 per player from each age group. From each sport. I'm trying to pull up the exact numbers. I mentioned them before. So these numbers, I got these from our finance department. Baseball had 546 players, and that was $2,730. Softball had 445 players, and that was $2,225. And soccer had 1,350 players for $6,050. My resolution requests or states that we resolve to reimburse each of these programs, that amount that I just stated. It's really that simple, just that we reimburse them that due to the losses that they suffered.
Got a motion by Councilman Lawler, seconded by Councilman Capelani. Any objection? With no objection, that motion passes.
Thank you.
With that, we'll go to agenda item number 5, the baseball update by Jeff Malonzo.
Doesn't look like Jeff's here tonight. I'll step in for him. We have all our leagues here right now to represent us to just give you guys a kind of a heads up and a layout of how we're going to restart our leagues. Baseball is going to, I mean, they're getting their schedules together now. Their practice is going to, I think, going to crank out on June 15th. Some games will start shortly after there. In meetings with them and talks with them, they're going to follow all the guidelines that we've set forth by the parish. We're setting out things as far as, trying to make sure that parents are aware of how just where they can be at, where they can't be at. If you guys have seen the regulations that we have, where there's, dugouts are not supposed to be used, keep the social distancing, encouraging sanitation as much as possible on equipment, players, coaches, everyone, prohibiting contact between coaches and players. There's even a deal where umpires will possibly have to be stationed behind the mounds instead of behind the catcher to expand the physical distance there too. Like I said, their baseball itself and the talks with them have agreed to make sure that they maintain it. We strongly encourage everyone to wear a mask. Not players. But it's an encouragement to the fans, possibly even coaches. Not a requirement. We've moved into phase 2 now, but and then we've also let them, hey, as a parent, as a coach, you control yourself, so you got to monitor your own physical well-being, your own health. If you have any symptoms at all, even if it's minor, we actually everyone to err on the side of caution and do not come. So, but it's like I said, that's how baseball is going to plan on rolling into their openings.
We had 2 comment cards, and I just got those here. I'm going to call the first one Trey Arnold, and I'm going to keep the 3 minutes up here.
First, I'd like to say I know Jeff's not here to represent baseball, but with the comments about BJ made about the league starting up again, one of the things was that the league had no more money in their account to pay for umpires. That was one thing I was hoping to address tonight, to find out about that, because it's hard to start back up again with no umpires, especially when you paid fees to play a sport that included officials on the field, and now you're restarting with no officials on the field. And he's, I guess, hoping for parents or coaches or something to step up. So that's one thing I wanted to, was hoping to address tonight, but it looks like we're not gonna be able to do that. Another thing is just I've been a part of Ascension Baseball for numerous years, and this is probably by far the worst, most disappointing season we've ever had. So it's something maybe to talk about in the future about addressing the baseball, how we can move it forward and make it better and get the numbers back up in the parish. Secondly, I know we touched about the lighting, but the lighting has been an issue for numerous years. Every year that something comes up, the lights have to get pushed back to another year. So I'm hoping that, I know there was a game planned earlier to start the lighting work this year, and I'm hoping that we can at least get something started. Those lights, are dangerous. I know at Sandoval Park, for one, if you're on the big field, right field cannot see the ball coming off the bat. First base, you got the lights from left field right in the guy's eyes. We had one player earlier this year, took one to the head, had to go to the hospital and get stitches. You can't see, these lights are just outdated. The poles, like BJ said, are old. They're more, right now, those wooden poles are more housed by woodpeckers than anything. And, if we can get the ball rolling, those new LED lights would be tremendous to help move this, baseball and softball forward in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you. We also have one additional speaker. I can't read the last name, but the first name is Sam.
afternoon. I was hoping that Jeff would be here also because we had a couple of questions, but so maybe you can pass this along and address it. First, I was forwarded a set of rules and policies for us to come back to play baseball, with guidelines provided by the state fire marshal, a second set of guidelines provided by the parish, and then a third set provided by ABC. I was just hoping that it could be reconsidered. One of the rules that was on here, which is, and this is really basic, but it's just baseball, it said that no tag-out plays are permitted, and that's under the parish rules. Kind of tough to play baseball, especially for the 18-year-old kids that I coach when you can't tag a kid. Puzzles my brain how we're going to pull that off. Secondly was the umpires. We were informed no money left for umpires, and the coaches would have to umpire the games themselves. 52 years old, I've been involved in baseball since I was 8. I'm going to tell you I'm not qualified to umpire a game, nor was I given an explanation of safety equipment that's going to be provided for me if I have to umpire a game. And then third was there is a waiver that was sent out that majority of the parents, and myself as a parent and a coach, feels very one-sided, and I hope that that waiver could be looked at and reconsidered. It indemnifies everyone except for the coach, and is very one-sided, so I would hope that that could be reconsidered. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I'll address a couple of things if you want me to.
Yeah, I definitely had a question about
go
the
ahead.
umpire. I definitely had a question about no money for the umpires.
Okay, so baseball, because they're UCCC affiliated in one aspect, so they took over paying for their own umpires a few years ago because they had to be certified and so on. And whether that's changed or not, I'm not sure. Well, I can give a small background. Baseball ran into an issue. I'm just going to assume that they felt that the league was not going to restart this year. So due to previous leadership, not Jeff, but previous leadership, the league incurred a great debt, okay, because of a past person that was put in charge. So they had a lot of debt they owed. So I'm under the assumption that whenever the league shut down and that was a wrap, that he went and paid the debts off, which is why they don't have the money now. Okay. It's in you guys' hand. I don't have an issue at all with us taking. Now, the issue we're going to have is that in order for us to pay for umpires and you pay them through parish funds, whatever, one, obviously it's got to go through a lot of things. You guys got to prove that. But they've got to get hired with us. And it takes a long time for them to go through HR with COVID screenings now, drug testing's got to happen, their background checks, like that takes a little while, so that would delay things. I'll say this, it's hard to, say, because he brought a few things up, but most of those things he brought up they're not our decisions. That was the league's decision. I haven't had any discussions with Jeff when it came to not having umpires at games. I've had people send me messages, but he never told me himself that they were planning on going forward with no umpires. I assume when the league restarted that they were doing a status quo like they were supposed to. A minor thing I'll address is the no tag out play. That's outdated because that was for when we started back up in May for practice only. We felt there was zero reason. Because I've coached forever, and I can probably put on 2 hands, maybe 4 hands, how many times we practiced tagging someone out at practice. So we were just trying to, establish as much social distance as possible, and we felt that was something to put in there. That was never supposed to work. In our new updated things that we did put out, the tagging rule is it's not in there anymore. So that's out the question. You can play normal baseball, so that's kind of a misconception right there. Like I said, we can discuss more as far as the umpire. And then the waiver issue, that's not our waiver either. That's league. Each league has their own waiver, and they're different. So that's also an ABC thing that has nothing to do with us as far as the verbiage and everything else in that waiver. So,
Councilman Lawler.
Mr. Nacello, can you get us a copy of the waiver just to take a look at it, or if you have it? There's not anything we can do about it. Mainly, it's out of curiosity. If that's just through Central Baseball Council, you can hand it. Is that something I can keep?
Yes.
Okay.
but back to the umpire deal. I'm not sure time frame wise what we can do as far as helping us out. But we still pay for umpires for softball. We still pay for referees for basketball. Okay, on both sides. It's just the other ones who had to have certified in their affiliation that we don't, for soccer and then for baseball. We're not opposed to it at all. I'm sure we got to talk with administration and others, and then you guys discuss it too. If we can make it happen, it's something we can do, then I'm sure, you know, we can try to take those steps to make that happen.
Do we know how many approximate games there are going to be this upcoming season?
In 18U, we were scheduled to play 20 games, and we played 4.
But I mean, like, how many games are we going to have that we're going to need to pay for? 'Cause
Exactly. Well, you're going to have T-ball through 18, so it's
Yeah.
a ton.
Okay. I'm just trying to get an idea of $25 per game. Can you approach your microphone? Thanks, Trey.
I would assume if they're starting games back up on around July 1st, then I would assume 10 games maybe? Probably 10 games max with the kids starting back up. at
Per
school
age
and
group?
everything. Per age group.
And how many age groups?
Yeah, well, that's per team, so
Oh, 10. Then divide by 2.
probably 6 different age groups, each team playing
Times 5.
10 games, so I don't know how many different games there would be total. But,
So if there are 8, all I'm trying to do is just kind of quickly figure out the math about how much it would be, because you got to
let's
figure
see,
if
you
there are
go
8
5
teams per age group.
weeks. 2. You're looking at probably 30 games in each age group.
And how
30
many age
games,
groups?
And probably, I think, 6 different age groups.
That's 180. So we just gave back some money, and that should cover about 109 games. That leaves us approximately 70 games short, money-wise, 70 times 25. I'm just,
Right.
trying to figure it out. It's not
Yeah,
a
that's just
tremendous.
rough, trying to, depends on who, how many kids actually come back to play and
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay, about
Mr.
4,500.
I just want to clarify that we're going to go in and check with finance, because I don't know if we've been paid by baseball yet. So we're not going to refund money that wasn't paid.
Absolutely.
Same thing for the other sports, but again, I don't want to just make that blanket assumption that we've been paid, because I would be willing to bet that we haven't.
Okay. That was just the information I got from finance, that this is how much has been paid per group. And
Councilman Waxback.
Hey, BJ, when you said, you talked about the hiring process for the umpires, I
Right.
mean, is that something we can work out? I mean, you sounded like is this an insurance thing and ABC has to approve it, or just?
No, I mean, it's through us, through our HR department. I mean, it just takes a while for everyone, they have to, in order to become on parish payroll, they've got to get drug tested. I think now they got to get COVID tested, and they got to have the background check. I mean, we just, you have to do that,
No,
so.
I understand.
Yeah, so that it takes a lot. That slows the process. I'm sure we could streamline everything we could possibly streamline in our department, but we can't speed the drug test results or the background check results up, because those are through third-party organizations, so we're at their mercy no matter what, so. But if they are gonna push games back, I mean, it's still gonna be a lot, but they're gonna push them back to July 1st. I mean, there's a chance that we could maybe possibly get this through enough, or we could have enough, at least for one umpire per field, at least to get the one that can call balls and strikes, which
Yeah.
is your biggest issue,
Yeah, I was just wondering what the process was.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
So you're saying baseball pays the parish and the parish hires the umpires?
No, that's how it is, and that's how it used to be, but say soccer and then baseball decided to get affiliated with certain leagues.
Right.
So then they had to be certified in that deal, so that's when baseball switched over. Now, I'm hearing conflicting reports that they did away with that a while back, but they've never come back to us for money again, so, but like I said, we do pay for the other ones, so that's why it's like that, so,
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering. So-
yeah.
and
I mean, it's a special circumstance.
Background checks.
I mean, I may be putting my neck on the line because I haven't talked to my bosses or administration behind me. I'm just thinking that if it's possible, if you guys approve it, and then everyone gives their thumbs up, I'm sure there's a way we can make something happen to try to, in these special needs times. Like, we can't, it's not something we would want to do, constantly just try to speed something up and rush through and start just giving money out left and right. Obviously, it's, these are special circumstances, so.
Like, I guess I'm thinking of the background checks. Is that some, I understand the other stipulations, but a background check's usually done. If y'all started the season, wouldn't those be still in
But
place?
it would have to be through us, though. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but, I mean, HR department,
Okay.
it has to be parish. The parish does that, so.
I mean, can you commit to getting us option we need to,
Sure.
right? I mean, it's the more I know, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for important to let these guys finish out what season they have left, so.
Really, like I said, I'm 100%. I had a 2020 senior who lost her senior year of softball in high school, and, thank goodness everything worked out, and parents, administrators, and school board got together, and we had a graduation and stuff like that, so that's great. But she locked herself in a room for about 2 months, and she's going to play college softball. But she locked herself in a room too because it's depressing, so as a parent, it got me. I can only imagine our older ones who are aging out. To lose that last year is a way, we play ball together before now, but it's still not the same as it was back then. You remember that last time you stepped on the field, so.
Yeah, well, let's do what we can to.
Right. So.
To happen, yeah.
Councilman Thomas?
Yeah, BJ, the background check, is that once a year? That's the
Yeah.
beginning of the
No.
year, and then,
I think they're good once they're hiring them and they stay with us and stay on the payroll, then they're good for, I think they're good.
Usually it's a year.
Yeah.
Through the state, if that's how it's done.
But I thought, so I don't think our guys have to do a background check every year. Maybe we do it automatically. We just run it through automatically, but.
But just to clarify, the problem is they may have been cleared through ABC, but now they would have to be cleared with us.
Yes, because they were not on our payroll, so.
Okay, I understand.
all
Okay.
right, one other thing, we got what's the umpires qualification, certification that they need to have in order to umpire game?
In our rec leagues, again, for baseball, when they were affiliated with a league, they had to get USSSA certified. But with our regular parish leagues, it's a rec league, so there's really no, we have a UIC. I'll be Trey, are you the UIC for the older age group? So, we'll have UICs who then will just, train them the best they can in the basics, is how we do it, so.
What's the amount that we paying the umpires?
It varies per sport. I know I can speak, it varies per sport and per experience, how long you've been around. So I can speak from the softball side. I think it's $25 to $30 as a rookie, as an early person, and then some of our veterans are getting $35. I think is what the highest is for a normal deal. So you do now, if you're supposed to have 2 umpires on the field, I think they do get like time and a half if you're the only umpire on the field, if you have to do both, so.
So you go about the experience. What's your method of checking the experience on?
If they're already certified in something in LHSA, it's something else, and they have, certification that we can find, and that bumps them up. If not, they start off at the bottom level every time, so.
So they would have to show you something.
Yeah, to get the extra, sure, to come in and be certified as experienced and certified, yeah, they would have to do that, so.
Thank you.
Councilman Lawler?
Yeah, I'd like to ask that ABC give us some information also if they can. I know Mr. Melanson isn't here, but hopefully he's watching. It's terribly captivating TV. If he would give us, an idea of how many games it is, because that'll help us budget. That'll get us much better in being able to budget this. The other part of it is, if I understand correctly, ABC is a nonprofit. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. I think there may be a way around this. I'm brainstorming here. But I know in the past, the parish has made donations to nonprofits. If that will help them quickly hire people, the parish could do a donation to the nonprofit in the amount that it would cost to get these referees, speeding up the process so they can get the season going faster. Just a thought.
Again,
Yeah.
we'll explore every possible avenue.
But we just need to know the numbers, how much it would cost.
Right.
And I think for safety purposes, I would recommend, I've always found it's better to have 2 umpires on the field, at the same time, instead of
Right.
just 1, especially when you get with older kids. There's a lot going on. I think it's just safer that way. So if we can get that information, I think that's something we could definitely move on quickly. And if it has to, we can request that it bypass the next recreation meeting, go straight to the full council. The quicker we can get it, quicker the better.
Right, we'll devise a plan. I'll talk with administration, and we'll pass it, where we can. If we can bypass the next meeting and speed it up, we appreciate that.
If there's no further questions, we'll go to agenda item number 6, the softball update by Mindy Arsenault.
Hello, council. I'm Mindy Arsenault. I'm the president of Ascension Youth Softball Association. We started June 1st with our practices. We went with the guidelines given by the parish and the fire marshal. We'll start games on June 15th with the new guidelines given. Like BJ said, the tag out rule is now out. Everything else pretty much stayed the same. We've given that to all our coaches, passed that on to parents. Pretty much the same thing. He said, oh, I can help y'all out with the drug test thing. We're trying to hire an umpire right now. That's your other issue, is they're only open 8 to 4, Monday through Thursday, and till noon, I believe, on Friday. So a lot of your umpires work, just to kind of give y'all a heads up on that. But yeah, we're looking to start up on the 15th with our games, and we'll end at the end of July is our plan. We can get enough games in.
Any questions?
How many games you looking to play?
We are trying to play 10 games for each age group, where each team plays 10 times. We typically play each age group twice a week, except for our little T-ball. They play once a week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we'll go to the soccer agenda item number 7, the soccer update. Bobby Capwell.
Good evening, council. It's been a long time coming. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of you, but also thank you to the parish president for allowing soccer to begin. As of yesterday, unfortunately, we weren't able to get out there because of the rain. Pretty typical when you want to get something going. Our guidelines with soccer, we're currently entering phase 2. Phase 2 is going to last from June 5 through June 26. It's going to be a 21-day period where soccer is not going to be soccer. Soccer is going to be very much individual based, no contact. Every coach must wear a mask during training. Every player must wear a mask from their car to the field when they're out there on the field. Every single player is going to have, a lot of space to keep for themselves. Whenever any of them want to go off to the side of the field for a drink break, everybody's got their own little station they can report to, so that nobody's, getting within that 6 feet guideline. And then we have protocols for after, families making sure that they wash their uniforms, coaches making sure they wash their uniforms, making sure that everybody sanitizes when they get back in the car. And then the next day it is pretty much a repeat of that. We've sent out what I think is quite a comprehensive document on how we're looking to return to play during phase 2. Like I said, it's not soccer, there's no contact, it's more like individual footwork stuff, but it's great to be out there with the kids again.
Any questions? And I do endorse the soccer. My daughter was out there tonight, so.
Yeah, but once again, thank you for helping us get here. We appreciate it. Thank you.
With that, we'll go to agenda item number 8, the ballpark lighting project. Mike Terry.
Hey, how's it going? I'm here to explain, I guess, the project to do lighting for 3 different parks, a total of 12 fields, and there were some questions at the last meeting when it was pulled off the agenda. So I'm here today to answer any questions that you might have, or
Councilman Lawler.
Well, I guess it was put off the agenda last time because they had a contract that was a 49.5 contract with no hourly rate. I don't think we've been given another contract yet.
well, I think it was because the contract was based off construction costs, really, like all state contracts and almost all parish contracts that I know of. The percentage of construction that the fee was for was less than 5%. When state fee curve for projects close to $1 million, I think, are almost 9%. That was almost half of what it would have cost.
Okay, but the other, was, I know there was some talk about trying to speed this along, but we've got a lot of other ballparks that need to have lighting done. Last October, November, we were looking at a Department of Natural Resources loan that would have paid for all of our ballparks and the amount was about $350,000 a year, was what we're gonna have to pay on that. And I guess the question is, at this time, we are, what I see, Recreation should be looking at, based on the latest financials, year-to-date, we're down 4.74%. That's my concern, is that we're gonna put out $1 million where we don't know what the economy's gonna do, where our money's gonna be. So my thought is, if we can get a loan where we're not spending $1 million of cash up front, but we can use, a limited amount. So save us $600,000 this year, because we don't know what this economy's gonna do in the next 6 months. If there's another a fall attack of the coronavirus, which we've heard that there's the potential for that, we could suffer, a much greater financial loss. So my concern is spending $1 million in cash when we may not have to. I'm curious about, have we done anything on the Department of Natural Resources loan, so we can do all of
I'm confused. You, at first you said it's because my hourly rate wasn't in there, now it's because of COVID?
There are multiple reasons.
I can't speak to COVID or.
Oh, I know you can't.
Okay.
But I mean, there are multiple reasons. And that's my concern, is we're only doing a limited amount of parks, and we have multiple parks. Why aren't we looking to do all of the parks?
I addressed that in my director's report. The fact that, so you're talking $350,000, it's not $1 million. I get that for 1 year, but within 2 years, we're going to be over that with the gym and the splash pad. Again, recreation's funding is tough. So we have the gym funding that's already been approved, and that's already a loan, okay, that we're going to have to pay back yearly for 10 years. And then when you add in this, so my deal was, let's stagger this so it's not the same. We talked to, this was before COVID, and I get that. We talked to, finance and everything like that. But even if you said that, in 2 years, we're talking, with that $1 million, we're at 700 stuff. But you say more ball fields, this encompasses 90% of our ball fields that are used, okay, that are actually used. That's 90% of our population are the three fields that we picked. The only other one that needs it will be the first one on phase 2 would be Ballpark. Okay, because on the west side, we don't have the same lighting issues, okay? Now, we do want to move everything to LED at some point, because it's just cost effective, okay? It's better, it's modern, it's upgraded, and it's going to save us money in the long run. They all are. But those aren't, we had to prioritize it, because again, we have to be creative. Like you said, our funding's limited, where it comes from is limited. And I was trying not to put recreation, on the hook for so much money at the same time, we also switched administration, so there was a game plan for this deal with the previous administration. And now we roll into the new administration, so we've all had to get in there and try to figure out, make sure everyone's still on the same page, and the same funding for all, including the gym deal, is still going to come. So this was, again, same time, we are looking at, like, I'm not trying to say we have a safety issue right now at the ballparks, but as we've seen, we are nearing the end of life of some of these poles that we have. Not tomorrow, okay? But the problem, if you wait till a month, then we can't do it. So we're at that point. We're at that window right now where we have to move, on some of these deals. Some of them have to get done. And we were talking about money. Some of these are killing us. Like, there's wiring issues, and we've had companies come out and they told us, look, we can redo all this wiring. It's going to cost you just as much if you go ahead and switch to LED. Because we have bulbs that we change, and in 3 weeks they blow out. These things should be lasting 5 years. But there's other issues. There's rusted out panels, that are 20, 30 years old. So then we run into safeties, because if it rains, those bucket trucks are very heavy, and the parks weren't really designed, way back when, to get a bucket truck in there to change the lights out. We have our own truck, but the problem is, if it's at least as soft at all, your truck's going to sink, so you can't do it. So then we have to just try to get by, on a 5-fixture pole that only has 3 lights working on it. When really back then, the standards have changed, and the lumens and everything like that. So it was those things at maximum deal working are basically the basic limits right now. So when there's a few out, we have issues. Then over the years, I'll just give an example. So at Butchcore Park, over home plate, there's 2 poles and there's 3 fixtures up there, and sometime down the road, they went and built shade seating for the bleachers. Well, that's in direct line with the lights, the way they were set, the poles were, so it causes shadow on the field now. So that's hurt things, So these are things that we've looked into, basically that I inherited and we're looking at. So that's why we try to move on to things that we really need to jump on now. you know? And we want phase two to start as soon as possible too. You know, we did, with DNR, we went through a whole deal for every single light in the entire parish, okay? And that was gonna be estimated $3.5–4 million range. But yet there's, you know, we're talking about going to change lights out that haven't been turned on in 20 years. You know, so it, you know, because we don't have unlimited funding, it's not a good idea. If we had the huge budget, I'm with you. Let's get them all done, because I'm not playing favoritism. We chose the three that would benefit the most, is what we did. Those are our biggest calls. Those are costing us the most money on replacing bulbs, constantly fixing fuses, and then safety issues, not just for the kids, but on the equipment. We're talking an adult could possibly go out there and touch the wrong thing, you know, in one of our deals, and, you know, and something possibly could happen. So that's why we jumped on these fields as soon as we could. That's what the game plan, like I said, was about.
Mr. Terry?
I wanted to say something to BJ, because he said it is a safety issue. Like, I don't know the man's name behind me, but the kid getting line drive in the baseball. I do light audits all the time to St. James Parish, Iberville Parish. I have the numbers to back it up. The concussions are like it's 80% where the light levels are improper and not up to par. If I would challenge any one of you to go look at Jackie Robinson and light it up, and that's the levels that it's supposed to be, and then go to any one of your other parks, because I've been to every one. I've been working on this since 2018, and these parks were chosen by your administration, but we also worked together as far as like what parks needed it the most, what parks were, you know, hurting the most, and that you were just, you know, reoccurring. He talked about earlier about the light that fell through. I never even charged the parish for that. We went and did the lighting study to make sure that you didn't waste your money going forward. I used to work for the parish. I know how hard it is to get funding and to keep, you know, a design consistent, not having to rebuild something over and over again. These parks weren't just picked because of, you know, location or anything like that. It was because of the need. Just like Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was deplorable. I mean, you couldn't play ball at night. It was bad. It's the same thing at your other parks. You just don't know how bad it is because you don't go out there with a light meter and you don't check these things or see, you know, how bad it is. If you go cut on Jackie Robinson right now, just stand out there, take a picture, and then go to any one of your other parks and cut on the lights. And you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe our kids playing with this.
Look, I understand it's a safety issue, but there are a couple of things that I heard. I know that what I've been told is that we have lighting problems on the west side, that the fields in Donaldsonville don't have proper lighting, and that's something that needs to be fixed.
But I think the only field that you do have proper lighting on, sir, is Jackie Robinson.
Well, and but not every park everywhere has proper lighting.
I'm saying, but you got to start somewhere. I mean, you
We got different levels.
Well,
I mean,
and I understand
west
that,
side, La Field is actually, it's the old halogen stuff, but it's the up to date, it's supposed to be, so there's zero issues there. Then at the Fairgrounds Field, we had a lighting issue, not a permit deal. We had one where legs went out, and we've repaired that, so.
No, but what I'm saying is,
So we'll probably make it easier. I'm gonna recognize so we have a orderly meeting and not just everybody talking over each other. So Councilman Lawler.
yeah, but I understand, but my concern is, we've been working on this for months to get all the fields done, and all of a sudden, the new administration's like, no, let's just do 3. And that is what concerns me. If we say that we have fields that have not been turned on for 20 years, the lights, well, you know what, we got baseball and softball teams that have been asking for fields nonstop, and we can't let them use it because we don't have lights on it. We've talked to how many teams have said, hey, we need lights, we need fields, we want to go play, but we're saying, hey, you know, we're not going to do all these fields. We have an opportunity. I can't believe, I'm shocked that we stopped pursuing an opportunity to do every single light in the parish, which you get the loan and you don't do one at a time, you do all the lights. And from what I understand, these LED lights are not good for 5, 10, 15 years. These could be 20, 25-year lights, lower maintenance, lower costs. If we would have continued on the path that we had been on, we may be there right now, but instead we're going to do 3 fields. I mean, we got Prairieville Park where men's softball is. The lights there aren't good. I've been out there. My point is, I really believe that we should be doing every single park.
Just correction, it's actually 12 fields, but
Mr.
3
Perry.
parks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I know what you mean. I'm talking about parks or fields or whatever. But that's my concern. I would much prefer that we do every single park in the parish and not limit it to a couple, here and there, because we don't know what we're going to have in the future. But I know that $350,000 today is today's dollars compared to $350,000 from 10 years from now. If you think about what your income is, that's a lot less money in the future. And if we wait to do lights, it's going to cost more. We know that. Everything goes up in cost. It's going to increase. I'd rather get everything done now. And I think, I don't want to be in a position where I'm telling some kids at some ballpark, you're going to have lights. Other kids at other ballparks, you're not going to have lights. That's why, that was part of the reason this was pulled. The other reason is it just seems like lighting companies, I don't know why, I'm just a little confused on the whole engineering aspect of this, putting up lights and how that works. It seems like the lighting companies know how to do that, but I don't know. I mean, that's obviously, it's not something I know, so that's not a big deal, but the cost was one of it. I mean, $49,000 seems like a lot for engineering. Another $49,000 contract, of course, which is, I thought we were doing away with those. But really, I'd really like to see us go after the DNR loan and the Department of Natural Resources loan and do every single light in the parish. That, to me, you solve a problem for 20 years. And I would love to say that I was part of a team that solved every single light problem in the parish, not just 3 parks, I think, in Sanoma. So that's my 2 cents.
BJ?
You discussed the fact that, we were pursuing every park. This has went through multiple councils. It was even explained in detail by Ricky Compton at the last meeting that we had in this room, and he stated the same exact plan, the same 3 parks, and you voted yes for it then. Okay, I'm just bringing that up because that's and again you keep throwing the low number to 3. This is 90% of our deal. I play ball at Prairieville Park right now. I will be playing the game next week, next Tuesday. Okay. There are different levels of issues out there. Okay, like there's, it's not professional lighting. Okay, it's not. It's our men's adult league. It's a rental travel field. The lighting levels are the best they can be for the equipment that's out there. There are different levels of safe and unsafe. Okay, and that's not one of them. Okay, every other park you're talking about is a single field park. Okay, minus the fairgrounds. Okay, and again, we have Ascension Catholic play softball out there, in a little agreement with us, and we don't have any issues. I said the only issues we have out there, that's 3 fields. That's 3 fields. Okay, so as I said, we picked what was going to encompass basically 90% of what we needed to get done with these 3, and it wasn't just because I lived over there. My kids don't play anymore. So it's not affecting them. And I don't look. Hey, I pitch, so I don't need the lights when I play at Prairieville Park. Okay, so I don't need them. So it's nothing to do with me. They were picked based on the greater needs of recreation, the greater needs of our community is why we picked those. Within immediately, my plan is not to do phase 1 and then we just sit on this for 7 years and go in phase 2. I'm talking about we're going to move into phase 2 as soon as we can. We actually had, we in talking to finance, she told us we had $1.5 million that we could easily take out. And this was her advice because we talked about it and in multiple discussions with them, they were like, I see the DNR, it's a low interest loan, we get that. But at the end of the day, because of other loans we have out there, that, why, when we could just do the 1.5, you have it in your budget, it's there, we're going to be okay with that. And that was going to be 1.5. Then it got knocked down to 500, then back up to $1 million. The 1.5 was actually going to take care of almost 98% of all of our deal. We already had everything. I mean, as far as estimated costs go, we got pretty reliable deals on estimated costs of what it was going to be, and had a good bubble of safety right there. And it was going to cover a lot more than what we had. You talked about other fields. So our original game plan, Butch Gore, we have a 7th field out there. It doesn't have lights, okay? We have room for another one. So at Butch Gore and Stevens, we were going to go to 8 fields with lights. Which was going to take care of most of our rental problems. We went above, this is the year we had the most rentals we've ever had. And like I said, and I'm not talking about lights don't work, okay? I'm saying we have park, you have Modest Park. There's a field back there. I mean, it's hard to get to, but I guarantee those lights have not been used because there's been no need for them because, the public uses it during the daytime. It's all daytime stuff. So there's no big rush to try to, upgrade those to LED. You see what I'm saying? again, at the end of the day, we prioritize our needs and try to, figure out a way of what we had and what we could spend, in conjunction, not with just lighting projects, with other projects that we have out there that are already approved, that have to be paid in the same time span. It's why we went this route. And, I'm avoiding the subject, but it's, the three we picked are super neat, and they really needed to be approved and started back. Our game plan was to have everything run through. We thought the last deal was a done deal because it's already been here once, okay? So we thought it was a done deal, and we thought July and August, we'd be running through this, and before, maybe even before fall started, but definitely by the next season, that those would be done. Phase one will be over with. Now, look, I'm not blaming any one person. COVID was a big issue in all of this, so obviously it slowed so many things down, I do feel that the meeting where it was kicked back, that if we could have been better prepared for it, that we might have been able to speak more, maybe it wouldn't have got kicked back then. But, we're just bringing it to light. It's a huge need. Like, it's a big time need, and we always talk about liabilities, but my main thing is just safety for the kids. It's not a shiny Lamborghini for me, it doesn't matter to me. I want them to be able to turn lights on. About Santa Park, some of that stuff is fairly new, but it was used, the old wiring was used. So they'll go out there, and when they go turn the button to turn it on, nothing happens, okay? And it's as simple as this, is the breaker's wrong, but the breaker box, even though it's new, because this is way before I got here, I'm not sure the design flaw in this thing, you can't reset it from here. So you know what we have? If they don't call us, we have parents and coaches unscrewing the thing and opening it up, which is, someone can die, okay, and resetting it in there. And I've screwed them shut. I've tried to lock things up, but short of me going out there every single night to every single game and turning on every single light, it's just not going to happen. At Stevens Park, you have boxes that we have painted red and green on, because some of them, the switches have totally went out, okay? And
You
have to
convinced me.
You have to use, I'm just letting you know.
And this was the, it's illuminating, excuse the pun, to hear that it was 90% of our players.
Right.
I don't remember that ever being said before. That makes a big difference there. I know it's been said in this meeting, but in prior meetings, I didn't realize it was 90% of our players.
Right.
That does make a difference there, because I'm thinking, we're doing for 50%. What I'd like to see, though, is that we don't stop, because we got a lot of other ballparks. We talk about Modest, people only play during the day. They'd play at night if we had lights. I know, because people have asked me all the time. So I think people will do it if we can get the lights going. I'm happy to move forward this now. I'm a little disappointed we're not doing all our fields. I'll be perfectly honest. How much would it cost to do the engineering for all the fields?
I can go do the numbers if y'all want. I literally, whenever I started doing this back in 2018, looking at the field and stuff, I know the process, I know what it costs, and I do know what it costs me to do it, because it's my company. That's why I did it. I'm doing it for half. So I know you might think it's a lot, but it's half. If this was any other public process or whatever, or if you were to pay that DNR loan, I forgot how much was in engineering, but it was almost $300,000.
Right. Yeah, it was around that range,
Yeah,
300 something.
It's crazy. I'm doing it for half. I don't know how much it'd be to do the rest of the parks yet. I can. The only cost estimating I've done were on those three.
Well, let's move forward with these three. I think that's fine. 90% of the people getting helped on this, but I don't want to lose sight of
No,
getting
absolutely not.
everything done. And Ricky, go ahead.
Because
Hold on, Councilman Wax.
Oh, he had his finger up. I saw Ricky. I like him.
Oh, I don't want to stop everything from moving forward, because it seems like we are. I guess a suggestion I would make, is, as let's bring this to the full council and just have that estimate. Could you give an estimate of, what the engineering's for, just for the sake of explaining it to people that don't know what goes into engineering the lights? Just maybe do a little piece on that, so we know that, and the people that are not here and maybe didn't watch it have that piece of knowledge. And then maybe, let's go forward with that, and then talk about what it costs to do the rest of the fields. And we'll get to that after.
So that was a motion to pass the ordinance. We have a second.
A motion to pass the ordinance.
Not an ordinance, but it's to move forward.
Move forward. Second.
Second by Councilman Lloyd. Any objection? No objection, so it passes. Media, I did have a question. Since Jackie Robinson is the only park that's, I guess, would you say, illuminated correctly, have they pushed anybody to try to use that field?
Matter of fact, we have. We had rentals at Prairieville Park for youth baseball, But that's always contingent on, but that's our adult softball park, but their seasons is kind of spread out, in between. So the rentals that we had at Prairieville are now being moved to Jackie Robinson. And we don't have a big need for full-size fields. There's not a lot of older age groups that play, okay? They're in high school now, they play in our rec league, and that's where that. So even there, we're looking at splitting that field in two, so it can be a double rental, just help with our, overbearing stuff. Because we would like to separate our rec and our travel rentals if possible, so soon, that's our star, park now. Now the lighting's been fixed, there's enough room out there, so we want to move things around a little bit, stuff like that. We also have Darrow Park, same thing. It's got a full size, 330, 400 center field fence field, and so as soon as we can, move into that, and like I said, and not everywhere. So those parks haven't been used, a ton, and no one's calling us to use them. I mean, the lights do work, but no one's calling us to use them. But there's like one leg out that's at Darrow, but then we had emergency rec have it fixed, but then COVID came, so it's all been shut down for right now. We have it, so we accommodated. I mean, between me, Ricky, and everyone else, we made it happen. We fit everybody in that called us that needed a spot. But we can't give everybody 6 o'clock on Tuesday because that's what they want. We give everybody, there's 4 days, and what's available is available. Is how we do it. First come, first serve. So.
If there's no further questions, we'll go to agenda item number. Oh, I'm sorry, Ricky.
I just want to add real quickly, we should receive the last bit of paperwork tomorrow, and working with the grants department, we are moving into phase 2 of a grant application to pay for half of the lighting project at Stevens Park. So that project is budgeted at $500,000 of the first $1 million, and if we get this grant, $250,000 of that will be paid back to us. That will enable us to move phase 2 a little quicker with that $250,000. So again, we get the survey back tomorrow, we complete the grant application, phase 2 of the grant application, and we are very confident that we are going to get that grant.
Who's the grant through? Is that,
I knew you were going to ask
do you
that.
know?
Yeah, let me find it out, I'll let you know.
Okay, I was just curious.
Okay, with that, we'll go to agenda item number 9, the skate park update by Mr. Dean Thomason.
Basically, I mean, it was pretty much the same place it was. The skate park, the pieces have been moved. They're over there, they're cribbed up, they're ready to be put back together. I mean, we got the drawings, we got the plans. I know there was some questions about, putting this thing back together, so they asked me to come up here and answer any of y'all's questions as far as related to the skate park.
Councilman Lawler.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't have any questions. I know I've talked to Ricky on this a little bit, and just I've talked to the skate park people also. With the questionable finances coming forward, I was very blunt with the skate park people. I said, hey, let's, at least for the next month or so, 2 or 3 months, put it on hold because we don't know what kind of finances we're going to have. We don't know what this COVID-19 and the oil prices are going to do to our budget for recreation, and they understand that that's a luxury item for us, and they were extremely understanding. There wasn't a word against waiting and seeing what the right thing to do is. So I'll get back with Ricky, and once we have our budget right, maybe it's something we can do.
Okay, it's ready to go.
One thought, I know that some of the neighbors around there don't like the looks of it right now because it's just cement pieces. I'll talk to Ricky, and if we can decide, and I know we're kind of leaning toward just the cost-wise, building a complete new one would have been pretty much equal to the cost of putting it back together. And if that's the case, maybe we can move forward pretty quickly by tearing up all the concrete and using that for riprap, because I know y'all need it.
So in all honesty, I asked Dean here because he said he thought he had a plan that would be less expensive.
Oh, okay.
And so maybe we'll use this next month to develop that plan so we can come back to you guys and we can say, okay, option A is to develop what he's talking about, and option B is to demo and wait till we have a little bit more funding and build a brand new park.
Okay, great. Let's do that. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Ricky.
If no further questions, we'll go to agenda item number 10, the Ascension Gym update by BJ.
I thought we canceled that.
It was put as an update, but it actually is a motion or asking, and an approval to go forward with a quote. I had looked into, because the existing gym is there now, okay? So we have no bleachers. It was rebuilt, and there's no seating at all. So when we do have our leagues in there for basketball, it's people grabbing metal chairs or their own chairs, and the flooring in there is also not the sturdiest thing in the world. So when these chairs are getting drugged all over the place, moved around, and so on, it's just not it just doesn't, it's not what we want to have as part of recreation. So last year, I started looking into, with the expansion and the 2 courts in there, it's limited spacing, it's trying to put in something like that. But I did talk to a few people in some other recreational places and kind of got a range of a $30,000 to $50,000 range where we could add 125 foot of seating for bleachers. It's like 3 rows, and we would put them on the far walls that run the same length as a court like this. It would give you 3 rows. It's still able to collapse and move in. It would still leave you like 2 rows short once it collapsed and moved in, which I don't think would affect us in any type of other rental or any type of other event we would have in there. So I guess we're just asking for your guys' approval to move forward on a quote, getting quotes, requesting for quotes, RFQs, or anything like that to see about pricing on this and possibly moving forward and getting this done.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Thomas. Second by Councilman Cagnolati. Any objection? No objection. Motion passes. And with that, we'll go to agenda item number 11. Motion adjourned.
Second.
No objection, meeting adjourned.